versus Netshoes Miners. Map number 2 is now underway. What could be, Demo, our final map here tonight. We're going to be headed to Chalet. Netshoes Miners, they put on a lights out performance on their map pick of Skyscraper. And we are really looking for E1 Sports to join in the party here.
E1, need to see more from you. We need to see you bounce back and win your map pick and take us to Border. But Miners look very confident. Just the general team play, you hope that will transition over the Chalet. See the bans come in. Miners actually fearing a blitz that, I mean, we did see E1 try and attempt the blitz, but didn't really work out all too well for them. Still, they banned it away nonetheless. Whenever you look at a map like Chalet, honestly, I think an operator like Valkyrie or Solus being left up, the information, the C4s from below can be a bit of an issue, but we've got a curveball and a half there, Ollie. The Mute ban comes in from E1. I think Mute is a very strong operator. Very, very strong. He's to the point where he's so strong that both teams love using them, so much that to see a team ban Mute away is a little bit strange because he's not to the degree where he's like busted or he's going to single-handedly win you around. For the most part, his gadget kind of goes unnoticed, but it actually does do quite a lot in terms of just getting rid of the information from drones. So to see that ban come in, it will hinder both teams. I think both teams will play Mute. Both teams, obviously, you're going to have to run Mute strats at some point. But to see that be banned away from E1 just leads me to believe that maybe they've really struggled with their roam game, and they want to make their clearing out the roamers a little bit easier for them.
It's a bold play to ban a Mute. You better make sure that you take full advantage of it because it screams of we don't want to have a difficult time in our drones. We don't want to be losing drones. We don't want to have to skirt around these Mute jammers. We just want to be able to drone what we want and take the ground off the back of it. So we'll have to see when E1 get onto their own attacks as to how that affects things. In the meantime, they're going to be starting off on the defense. No good or bad side really here on Chalet. It's pretty ban dependent. The Blitz ban has seen an appearance as well, Demo, so this is looking pretty fast. Oh, Basesso, he's only placing a claimer. I thought he was just going to ball straight in then with the diffuser. I was getting a little bit panicked.
My word. It's a close one. Neskin still opens up the opening pick. Iana has the flashes. And this was... I always looked at Shell and I always thought this was where Iana always was an operator that people chose. You always had an Iana somewhere in Chalet because it is pretty big. You can kind of solo roam yourself. You have plenty of options for nades from below. Good gun, good gadget, yada yada yada, list goes on. But now that you don't have the nades, I feel as though Iana does transition more into like a burn operator, similar to kind of what we even see from Dokkaebi, where you're using the flashbangs to burn for nades. But in this environment, there is no nades at all for Miners, period. So clearing out positions such as blue stairs, that's going to be difficult for them. And I don't really know how they break it down. That's out.
Violent swing there from STK picking up 2. That probably isn't in the plan for E1. 5 versus 2 right now. Raps is going to activate the goggles and see if he can glean anything through the smoke, but so much pressure coming in through this mud room, but it isn't going to be enough. Neskin and Levy, clear shop there. I mean, that's as minimal as you like, Demo. They basically took nothing at all.
Incredible. Miners sweeping through that like a hot knife through butter. No issues whatsoever. Just pick after pick. In fact, STK's got 2 of them are just clogged up the stairs. Incredible stuff. And Miners really get things off to a good start. And again, you just immediately you worry for E1. You really do. Just look at the team and you think, where are the kills coming from? Where's the bite back? I mean, Astra, we have to go back to him, Ollie. He had a horrendous game last time. He hasn't started off well at all. Yes, I know it's round 1, but round 1, it sets the scene. Chapter 1 of a book, Ollie, that's where you know what the tempo is.
Would you say that Miners did a major amount of work with a minor portion of map control?
Well, I think if they want... maybe Miner's way of being a minor to the major, which in the long scheme of things is quite minor in terms of going to SI, but if they do win the major, then all of a sudden Miners will be going to the biggest major tournament of the year.
And often it's the minor things that really add up to make a major difference, right?
You could say that. I'm out. Okay, you win. You win that one.
We gotta have a little bit of fun every now and then. Round 2. No reattempt from E1. I don't think that bar went exactly as they had planned, so they're instead going to go to the kitchen. Which does involve keeping good control of this top floor.
Of course.
Now, obviously, with no mute, you are struggling to defend yourselves a little bit, because you're probably just going to get droned, and you're probably just going to get pushed quite easily, because there should be information on you at all times.
Well, we have the W7M strategy coming in from E1, where you try and defend that entire top floor, extend out, open up a lot of kill holes, and just play long angles. But without the mute, information gathering should be pretty easy. 4 Miners and even the Dokkaebi as well makes it 10 times easier for them. But Miners just poking the bear at the moment, seeing if they can get something from it. No real headway of an attempt to take control of top floor wraps. That must have been a good peek. I think he just picked off the player on towards the solar window. Lukid finds Mighty. Oh dear, the slow approach has not worked out well for Miners. They've been picked apart left, right, and center. They're in dire straits. Who's that trying to walk in for his sight? Facetto. What's he thinking of doing? He will get spotted out from the long angle. That Frost ready for him. I mean, even if he got to the side, it wouldn't have mattered. He can't plant.
Yeah, you need to take Vert. You're almost just giving your HP away at that point. 2 players now stuck inside of the bottom of West Main. Facetto is going to be able to make a rotation, but he's greeted with a castle barricade one side. He's got a double reinforced wall the other. Desperately trying to thread a super long shot, but 1 bullet was all it took. He's been downed. Unlikely to be recovered here, really. Hearing the remnants of a Dokkaebi phone call go through, and Neskin, sole survivor. He might get himself an exit frag or 2 here, but still with the presence upstairs, it's going to be very difficult for him to make anything happen here. Is eventually going to get finished off by Astro. A flawless round is responded to with a flawless round of their own. Much better from E1.
A lot better from E1. That's exactly what they needed in response to what Miners were trying to go for. I mean, Miners, it's one of those rounds where you can kind of see the idea is that everybody gets a point and you have like a full collapse come in. But if you don't get those kills, then the kind of circle that you've tried to engulf the defenders in is never fully, taken advantage of. So it's always a risky one playing it slow like that. Sometimes it comes off and you look incredible, but then on the flip side, you come off in rounds like that where you just look miserable. At least that's the kitchen out of the way for Miners. They can now look towards a different bomb site to attack, and it will be that basement. Lineup choices for the defense is pretty heavy in the old roam game, Ollie. We're seeing Capcan, Solus, Alibi. All operators you expect to stretch their legs and get out and about in the map. Leave Mir on site with the Azami to lock it down. Azami in basement is an absolute terror fiend, by the way. Like, this creature, you can just block up so many angles, especially towards the wine cellar side. Whew. You need to bring a lot of self-destruction, and actually all too much of that. I don't think there's really, there's none unless you're going to be seeing the Dokkaebi running the Dawn 6, which I'd be surprised if they are. So those Azamis are going to cause some issues, all I have to say that they're going to have some form of impact.
It is a real big operator to be allowed through as an Azami when you start thinking about a basement defense, because you mentioned there just the strength that you have. You can create one-way angles, you can just block up doorways instantly if breaches don't go to plan, or if you're successful on an impact trick, whatever it might be. Tons of different options, so Defender should be in relatively good stead here. And shouldn't need to do anything too extravagant to get the job done. We've got both Dudes and Solace just off site at the moment. I'm going to look to rotate round at some point. Mighty. He's not wasted too much time here. He's already got a nice angle and he's cutting off a great line of sight straight through into connector. If he can hold this for a while, there's a good chance he's going to catch someone. Carelessly drop him, but it's going to be Levy. He found himself in the middle of the site almost, along with Neskin. 3 kills on either side. Mighty down in the mix. Sexy Cake, seeing if he can turn his attention, but he just gets taken out by STK. Miners are everywhere here, Demo.
But no diffuser, though. That is the issue that miners are having. You need to get that picked up and try and prioritize this. Well, I think they know that. They're just holding firm as it stands. Luke could easily drop back into sight if needed. Astro, give the call, and the drop goes in. Luke, it just about kills Lave. Look at the HP, though, Ollie. Look at the 2 defenders. Single bullet from STK, you would expect to take them down, but he has to be pretty quick here to get himself into a good position for the clutch. Holding on to Blue now, looks away. Moves over into the main bulk of the site. Will he go Blue? Yes, he will. No diffuser still on hand. Has to try and play for the kills here, but Astro will rotate away now in towards Trench. Creeps up, and that's a good swing from Astro. Takes out STK. Diffuser cold on the ground because Ace was caught by himself. That's all it takes to cost Miners that attack.
As the rounds go on, Astro is slowly redeeming himself for that first map. Picked up a couple of really important kills here already on Chalet. And E1 have a lead. It is a small lead. It's a lead of only 1 round, but it's a lead nonetheless. Going to be attacking Bar this time for Netshoes Miners. They were successful here. It's the only round that they've won so far. But it was a very strange round, wasn't it, Demo? We joked about it that they basically took no map control. They tried to all send it in through mud. And you need to do a little bit more than that when you're attacking this site, really. It might work for a round, but it shouldn't work for 2.
Shouldn't. Cheap tricks only last once. We look towards our mid-floor. See the setup. Mirror windows obviously going to be an issue for them. I will say for Miners, I would like to see them almost prioritize with a little bit more creativity in their lineup. And looks as if I'm going to be answered, Ollie. Capital comes into the mix, which whenever you're struggling to clear players out of your pretty difficult positions, you think top fireplace towards Blue, even someone behind a mirror window. Ying is usually a good option for that. With Ying being banned away, you have to try and get creative. I would say that I feel that Brim has been a good selection for teams if they've been struggling with clearing out strong positions. Instead, we're seeing the Capital. Again, does a similar job to what the rest of them do, and that's just clear someone out. This is a little bit more deadly, though, because you actually have to move your position compared to what Brim does and what the Cadellas do to you. So you will have to move away as defenders. So it does give you that added bonus where if someone's set up in position to hold a crossfire, in goes the Capital Aura, pushes the player off the position into the arms of someone else. That should be the script. That should be how things go.
Things don't always go as expected. We know that. Let's see where that Capital gets used. Look at Mighty in the ground he's able to take. He shouldn't be getting that opener on an ace. He's just hopped himself straight in. Sexy Cake oblivious to the fact that someone had just come in on the top of balcony. SDK going to find some success as well. Maybe this is Netshoes Miners' side because they're making it look pretty straightforward so far. First half of the round, 2 opening kills and plenty of time to start rearranging this top floor.
There. Great shot. He's down. Skin also falls. 2 kills. Quick succession for E1. We'll regain them an even man advantage. 3 players apiece. The actual positioning, though, of the defenders, they are very separated. It is like the Bermuda Triangle, the way they're set up. Anything goes in the middle of that, they will be lost at sea. Take out 1 point, you try and avoid that. The attackers should be able to navigate through this defense. Arrow go down, but Nobody moved. They know the positions off the mirror. They know that they're inside a connector. Selma charge will be placed now on the mirror window, on the reinforced wall. Will mirror move? Yellow pink still there. They know exactly where Raps is going to be. Just waiting now for the pinch. No fire arrow though, Wally. They're going to have to try and maybe use the smokes and push in and get the kill. Mighty, he's going to go for the plunge. Yes, he will drop in now. Has to win this engagement and will not do so. Raps, a huge kill to take. Lucan wins his one. STK now by himself. E1 counter Raps has played that extremely well. STK, it's a good pick on the Lucan. There's the refrag. E1 keep on marching through. Another good round for them. 3 rounds the one they lead.
Bit of an unfortunate end there for Netshoes Miners. I feel like they could have played that final push just a little bit better. We didn't see those Capital bolts end up getting used. Didn't have the fire arrows as you commented on, but he did have some smokes, and that would have done something to at least block line of sight, block vision. And you could have maybe got something working off the back of it, but a desperate drop maybe wasn't the desired play. E1 now starting to chain a little bit of a lead of their own together. This is looking very reminiscent of the scoreline we were seeing over on Skyscraper demo, but this time it is for the other side.
It is. It's a reverse flip effect. Both teams just enjoying their own map, it feels like. 4-2 halves are pretty common though on Chalet. But then even halves, I think, have certainly had came into resurgence. I think Miners, they need to get this next round at least, Ollie. Minimum, they need to get this next round. Give them a chance. A big chance. But E1 certainly not slowing down. Look at the difference it makes whenever Astro is playing well. And I suppose look at the difference, you know, Basetto, not yet to get a kill.
Yeah, it's amazing what a bit of a quieter game from one person will have. Seto was a top performer on Skyscraper. Astro was a bottom performer on Skyscraper, and now he's definitely up there on the side for E1. 5-2 at the minute. Basetto on the flip side, 0-3. Yeah, it's still early days, but that's 3 gunfights you've potentially lost there. I'm surprised we've not seen a timeout yet for Miners. It would have been, I believe, a nice time at round number 5 to just try and stabilize ahead of the last couple of attacking rounds that you have on this phase, and maybe try and level things up at an equal split, but obviously saving it for if they feel as though they need it a bit later on.
Window gameplay for Levy here, always a risky one, all I feel. Windows can be a dangerous technique to go for. He's more there just to make sure he can get the concussions in and assist his team as they try and go for that collapse and go for the pinch. Neskin will get things started. Takes down Raps. He's been able to work his way in towards Solar, and that gives a amount of ground over to Miners. Also lets Mighty just jump straight in towards Bathroom. Still 4 versus 4. STK now. Gonna rotate towards the window. Neskin. Oh, sees one player move around in towards office. Is there going to be the pickup though? Really wanting to jump onto this. It should be an easy kill. You would expect it to be from either Neskin or Mighty, but they're struggling right now.
Neither player really able to land. Dudas and Astro both pretty low, so advantage, although it is an equal man count. Got to go to Netshoes Miners. They are just stalling out for a brief time here, though. Don't have any C4s to worry about, which is a good thing, but there's tons of utility available. Got 3 black eye cameras. We've got 2 bulletproofs. Basetto eventually going to convert there onto Astro. Mighty gets himself in a horrid challenge there. Takes a good chunk of damage. Does he know he's tucked? Texie Cake comes out better there. The plant now going down for a second time here from Basetto. Nothing stopping him from getting this down and nailed, but he keeps coming off. Dudes, he's finished him off there. I get the feeling he would have potentially got the plant down had he just stuck it. Now STK and Neskin have got a real tough task. The diffusers are cold on the middle of the site. And Neskin's now going to try and clear this top floor. There's 2 versus 1. Udez and Lukid, they've held on and they've done a cracking job here. He can recover the diffuser, but he's likely going to get swarmed as soon as they realize the plant's going down here. Lukid going to come around for that rotation. The drop from Dudez as well. It's picture perfect stuff from E1.
STK, you need to hang your head in shame allowing that retake to happen. Ollie was in double window. They got control of above. Diffuser going down. All STK needed to do was just sit in the window and not allow them into bedroom. But he allowed them to do it nonetheless. Horrid stuff there for Miners. It's just not looking good for them. E1 all control in the world. So calm. They're so... They just play off the information. They don't look panicked at all on Chalet. They go into it and they just know they're going to win that. Confidence is mega right now for Miners or for E1, sorry. And Miners just need to do something. It is completely the reverse flip of what we see in the Skyscraper for both these teams.
Deary me. It's never an easy thing as an LCQ. This one is proving to live up to that. Both teams having great showings on their own maps. One more round here for Netshoes Miners to see if they can come away with something. If not, we're going to see a carbon copy. We're going to see a 5-1 split again, but this time in favor of the other side. E1, real good job of resetting the mental and coming back from that Skyscraper. A lot of teams and a lot of coaches will talk about best of threes, and I remember this was something that I've heard Lycan say a couple of times. Best of three, you just win your own map and win the decider. You don't really worry about your opponent's map pick. That seems to be living true here inside of this best of three that we've got. Both teams having a real dominant showing on their own map pick. Granted, we've only seen half of this map so far. There's still a lot of chance for Netshoes Miners to get themselves back into it. But it's going to take them to really book their ideas up a little bit in not only this last round of their attack, but when they get onto the defense as well.
Oh, sexy cake. It's an early death, and oh, that's a great refrag though from Dudez. Mighty off the board. Hardbreacher off the board, more importantly. Oh, Neskin. Oh, what a shot before the C4 landed at your feet, and Basel with great coverage. Finally, something we can talk about there that Miners have done well. It took them a while, Ollie, but I would say that E1 a little bit overconfident there with how they set up that roam game. Very aggressive, very in your face, and they've been punished for it.
You need to punish a team if they're a little bit too overconfident. You know, you're going to see that coming in now, especially when you start getting such a good lead like the teams have got or have had in these games. And E1 have got a fantastic lead here, so punishing that overconfidence and punishing that cocky gameplay, you've still got to be on the ball to do that. Netshoes Miners done a good job of that. They're going to now try and get the plant down again here. STK is going to be there with the cover. This time he doesn't miss. Takes Raps down and Lukid... So it's going to be a tough ask. Netshoes Miners finish strong on what has otherwise been a bit of a lackluster attacking phase.
It has. Not look good for Miners, but that was good adaptation there. Being able to see, oh, hey, look, they're all roaming off site. Let's just push to the other site and get in for that plant, and that's what they did. E1 now. Looking for a timeout. We're also missing a player there. Missing someone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We rejoin exactly where we left off. We've been through both a technical and a tactical timeout. Netshoes Miners choosing now the start of their defensive phase to take their own timeout. And we have fixed... Well, we haven't fixed anything, Demo, have we? But we have been informed that whatever the problem was that caused the technical timeout has been fixed. And we can get back underway with our game here. Map number 2 of our second quarterfinal here in the last chance qualifiers for Brazil. Netshoes Miners, they were successful on Skyscraper, and so far E1 have been successful on Chalet, but that might all be about to change.
I hope it changes. I want to see, you know, an overtime here. I don't want to see just another stump. I want to see it go all the way. That's what we want as Siege fans, see as many rounds as we can of some good Siege. It's been a good game. You know, I think the defense, especially just the general team play from either defensive side, have been very strong, Ollie. Very little, you know, kill advantages going in favor of the attack. It's pretty to the nail. for the defense. So we'll see now how E1 transition onto their attacks now. They've had obviously a ton of time to really think about what they want to go for. So we had that lengthy break. And they went for quite a heavy amount of soft destruction. Sophia and the Flores comes into play. So dealing with any Azamis upstairs, any shields upstairs as well, no issue whatsoever. It was a good lineup to bring in. No nades though, so you kind of look at it and think, yeah, that's great, clearing away the Azami barriers, but how do you really clear people out of the position? You think about the suicide position that you have in towards library, which I believe somebody is occupying at the moment. How do you clear him out? You look then towards maybe blue stairs. How do you clear someone towards blue stairs without just taking a straight up gunfight? How do you deal with all these different positions that miners will be set up for?
You got to come up with a solution to those problems. As you mentioned, we've not even got any nades here. It's LCQ going to be rocking the Finker with the smokes. Got smokes on the Twitch as well. Astro going to be the first player to fall here. STK, look at him go. Picks one. His teammate Neskin grabs a second. Look at this team play. The library belongs to Netshoes Miners, and they're going to let you know. Lukid stuck on the roof. Minute 20 to go. What does he do from here, Demo? He's in a 1v5.
Take an extra timeout. So I do. I mean, the basic fundamentals of taking that top floor is all wrong. You need nades, Ollie. You know, look how easy it was for the positions of the defenders to play in. I feel as though there was very little pressure coming in towards top fireplace as well. Everything just came from library. It should really be the other way around. It should be very little play towards library. Most of your force coming in through office and in towards fireplace. Just the priorities all wrong there for E1, and they will be punished with losing this round. Any kill Luke gets here will just be to pad the stats. Like I said, just take that extra time just to figure out what they want to do. But for miners, it was a good hold, Ollie. You know, playing to their strengths. You think of the operators that are available to them. Azami, Wamai, Aruni. All extremely strong operators whenever you look towards that top floor. You can just hunker down layer after layer, stop the utility. I mean, it's not even as if the utility was going to be an issue for them. There's no nades anyway on the side of E1. So yeah, miners take a very comfortable first round.
Good round for miners, and this scoreline all of a sudden starts to look a little bit better. Despite their lackluster attacks, you start looking at a 4-3 and thinking, well, there's only one round in this thing. There is chance yet for them to bring it level and then some. E1. It comes down to the basics, Demo. We were speaking about it till we were blue in the face in our first series with Liquid. Do the basics well, and it's in those basics, ingrained into it is you got to be bringing the right operators. I know there's just been a mid-season reinforcement. I know there's been a small patch that's come through and it's juggled a little bit of that utility around, but these players still know who's got the nades and who doesn't.
Start things on a basement now for this round, and look at the lineup on the defense. Mira comes in, obviously going to be a bit of an issue. That's what we were lacking was more info. You know, Mira brings a bit of exposure. On defense. Oh, lineup, well, look at that, and it's a good one to have. You have the RAM, which is great whenever you think about how big lobby is and how difficult it can be to get a sledge or a buck in there. Where you almost have to check like everything on the top floor and everything in the mid floor. But with a RAM, very safe, just chuck it in that room, set it off, and it'll open up all your vertical angles for you. You don't even have to step an inch inside the building. And Glad for basement, it's always a good pickup. You know, I think this is something that will catch people by surprise, almost a bit of a pocket pick.
Yeah, we don't always see a Glaz, and we don't always see a Glaz be useful, but I mean, there's going to be no excuse for the Glaz not being useful here, because we've got 4 sets of smokes, which I don't know why we've got 4 sets of smokes, because we've seen a minute and we haven't seen a single one thrown yet. Oh, but I'm sure that all will be revealed. There's one. Are we going to count these off? I don't think we're going to see them all. There's 2.
3,
Levy
4,
in the hot seat. There are smokes
5.
going everywhere. Levy doesn't have a C4. He's got to aggress through, but that's the power of the glass. The cover there from Sexy Cake, second to none, and it's going to allow the plant to go down. Neskin, he finds one in the post, but there was no C4 close enough. Mighty, a little bit of sleep at the wheel there. STK's found himself down. Bassetto, he's got to try and aggress up onto this and take a challenge. But look, there are even more smokes here. That's why you bring them all. Look at him go. Sexy Cake, he's got 3 kills, and he's not done there. Neskin, still out on the prowl. But look at the time.
No time.
15 seconds. Nothing that he's going to be able to do here. Caught out on the drone as he makes the rotation. That is why they brought 8 smokes.
Yeah, it's just a pocket play with the glass, catches them by surprise. I also want to highlight the plant position and how important that was for the post plant. Sure, you may look at it first glance and think, oh, well, that's, a bit of an off-site position. If a C4 gets tossed, it might miss him because it goes a little bit further than what the defenders would be expecting. Not really. The whole reason why that's planted right in the open is so no defenders can successfully long-arm it from a safe position. We see a lot of times teams will plant, and then a defender will get really close to the garage wall, and then can long-arm the diffuser. It just causes mayhem. But having it in the open means that you have to challenge onto the attackers, and that's what they want. Laz wants you to swing into him as he has a smoke canister. I just think that is a really good highlight for miners, is just, or where for E1 should I say, sorry, of where their actual, brains are coming from. I thought it was a great plan.
Sometimes you need a little pocket play to get you over the line. Nothing wrong with a little pocket play. It's going to increase the lead again here for E1 and send us ever closer to a border, which I'll be honest, based on the way we've seen these two maps play out, I have no idea where a border would go. How many pocket plays have E1 got? How deep are their pockets? Mighty. No excuse for information here. He's got it all. STK starts things off with a pick over onto Dudes. Looks as though Mighty's tempted for a bit of a run out here. He was running over to that garage wall with a bit of purpose. He's got some impact, so could try and send it out there, but needs to be cautious and pick his time wisely.
Just taking their time now to get the drone work done. See if they can find a pick back. Favor off their attack right now. Because again, this heavy bunker down strategy from miners using those zombie barriers are going to cause issues, of course, for the attack. No hard breach. You wonder what the idea is. Ollie, I'm the biggest fan of not bringing in the hard breach for that top floor. At some point, you're going to have to open up a wall. Just don't really see E1 pulling a victory out of this just based on their lineup choice. The only thing you could say is maybe Yamaru could do something. Maybe swing in through a window and they're not expecting double window. Who knows? Maybe in towards solar. Get some picks from that angle, but Lizzo miners will have that well covered. They're not going to let anything slip out of their grasp. It seems to be solar is going to be the play. That's where they want to head, Ollie. It's going to be a tough ask, though. But those long angles it can be challenged onto. I mean, Neskin on bathroom window right now is pretty safe. Just a swing on the solar as they try and push in. But Levy, more importantly, look at his pulls, Ollie. He is tucked in deep, and they can't really clear him out of that position.
One way to deal with it is to get yourself a little bit more active, and that's exactly what Netshoes miners have done here. Kills flying all over the place. Astro, a turbulent series, it's fair to say, but Neskin in position to take him out there, just tucked in behind the bathtub. No response, no way of really removing those power position players, Demo.
No, just it was very limp from E1. No real menace that you could really give them the benefit that, hey, they're in a good position to win that attack. It just seemed like miners just from the get-go. The lineup, I just think, wasn't the correct one for E1. I mean, if you're looking for the solar site, you need to try and get the nades in below. That's a must. You need to get nade kills. You think about the position that Castle's in. That's nadeable. Pretty much all of the positions inside the bedroom are nadeable, so you really need to make that count if you're going for the solar take, but it just never happened for them. So Miners, another round back in favor of them, but E1 still lead though. E1, another drastic change of a lineup. We see Jackal make an appearance now, maybe to deal with the roamers that... I mean, it wasn't the roamers that caused them issues in this last attack. The issue was they just did not bring a good lineup to really threaten any of the defenders.
Round number 10. Again, a very similar scoreline here. Not a lot separating these two. This one very easily could go to an overtime. We do have some nades this time for Dudez, so shouldn't be too many of those defenders that are unable to be dealt with. But then you look at what we're attacking into. We're attacking toward the bar. Last time a big stand was made in the library by Netshoes Miners. E1 couldn't get anywhere near it. Doesn't look like they're going for that same direct library approach now, at least with the positions of these players. Instead, maybe going to try and take this top floor and look to make a bit of a sweep across.
Yeah, drone work being done well from E1. See if they can figure out what's safe to move in for. And have got control of that kitchen and dining side pretty early on, but that's not the main issue. The main issue is that library. That's what they need to try and push in towards. I do like the approach, though. I like that they're going from that side of the map rather than just full on direct in free library, which you know just is not going to work. Site players need to be careful, and even Neskin on blue stairs. You know, Neskin's the real key of holding that kitchen corridor. Really nothing stopping Miners just walking into sight, bar Neskin holding onto that long corridor. I don't think that E1 are interested. I think E1 just want to try and get the clear out of that top floor. Got two sets of nades, but they need to make sure they have the burn to accompany that. There will be Aruni gates, there will be Wamai discs. Luku trying to send in the flourish drones as best he can to eliminate the concrete barriers. Time slowly ticking down though, Wally. E1 may want to think about getting a bit of a shift on here.
Certainly is. Minute 5 or so left on the clock and everybody left standing. STK. His power builds in that position the longer he's allowed to play there. Those magnets getting placed out. Still information available here. Mighty. Look at the info he's able to gather on that black eye camera. Can give a good heads up to anybody that's in and around that area, or even for himself to make a bit of a challenge and a swing off, and the line up for him. He only manages to land one, and it's only a down instantly fixed by the Finkerstim. And with Neskin falling earlier, things aren't looking too hot here. SDK, I mentioned he was in a power position. He needs to really make that work now. Basetto finds the first kill back here for Netshoes, but he too is going to be downed. Astro adds on to the pain and finishes that off. Levy got 15 seconds to try and stop this plant from going down. The smoke's coming out of C4. Is it going to be successful? Yes, it is. He finds the triple. Oh! Can he land his shots? Levy, look at him go!
How has he pulled that one off? A double C4 kill on the soft wall. Why is the diffuser not going down miles away from him? Miles away. They all just rush at him for no reason whatsoever. E1 have just gifted them that round. There's the early Christmas present for Miners. You know, that diffuser should be planted just so far away.
On a soft wall as well.
Oh.
Even if he didn't have a C4, there's a world where you could just wallbang him. You might have a bit of info. You could have a black eye camera in the
site. It's a Valkyrie.
You never know. It's like just oh man, painful. I tell you what, if Netshoes Miners turn this round and win that, you'd be looking back at that round and going, "You're all guilty."
That's
every single one of you.
That's it.
That's the point where you lost it, because that is not a round that you should be losing. Look at that. We're back.
Short break. You're not a liar.
I told you it'd be short, and I told you we'd be back.
Word.
I was right on both accounts.
You were.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't even
the tech plays.
I feel like I don't even need to do the full introduction.
No, we haven't skipped a beat there. I mean, it's just tech plays unlucky, I suppose. Of course, today would be unlucky. Of course, it would be. But we'll work through it as best we can. Oh, that's a good point. You think the Liquid, you know, opium users, the absolute diehard fanboys, you think they'll be saying, we only lost because it was Friday the 13th, that's unlucky. You think has that been an excuse yet?
I didn't even realize it was that. I didn't even realize it was Friday the 13th today.
That's it.
I mean, I know that some people say that they don't leave the house on. I have genuinely not left the house today.
I mean, I don't leave
But
the
it
house
isn't-
weeks on end.
It isn't through it being that date. It's just I was busy this morning and I'm sat casting right now, so I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, I think I'll stay in. Sounds safe. 5-5, round 11. E1. They have not had everything go their way. Luke is going to take a good bit of damage there. Some nice early aggression. Love to see it. Nothing better after a timeout or some extended break in plays just to really hit it hard. That seems to be what NetShoes Miners are doing. They're not overcommitting. They're just letting them know they're there.
See, Levy's brought in the Warden of fear that maybe the Pocket Glass could be another option for E1, so they will be prepared if that was to ever come, but as we know, Glass was just a one-and-done operator for them. Seems to be a lot more of a controlled environment now for E1. Plenty of drone work being done. Ideally, they're trying to look to get Sexy Cake in towards Lobby, open up that vertical as best they can, but there is two roamers that you have to go up against. Levy in towards Games, who looks as if he's going to be coming to a contest against Luke Kid, but neither of them committing to that gunfight. STK is also above on that Mozzie. The Warden loses it out against Astro. STK, though we mentioned him, he gets the refrag. Luke Kid gone. Astro and low HP. Neskin also upstairs to support. I like, again, the team play for Miners today. On the defense has been very strong, looking to support one another. If one falls, the other will be there to get the trade.
Nice little bit of play there coming out from both sides. Nothing
Great.
going untraded here. That was direct. One for one. Udez onto STK. Still leaves things fairly equal here. You've lost your nades on Dudez. You've potentially...
Still have your RAM, though.
You've still got the RAM. In terms of rooting those players out, I guess a bit of a saving grace that NetShoes haven't chosen to bring an Azami this time.
Yeah.
Listen to that RAM go.
Right, the racket.
There goes the flooring.
Flashbang, which I suppose you could kind of argue could be helpful in terms of clearing out players in positions, but see, a nade does it best. So they have opened up all the vertical flooring. Now it needs to be the case of how you're going to get that diffuser down. Obviously, moving in towards the main breach should make the most sense. But with two players stacked up in towards blue, one of them being the smoke, they'll be ready if the breach tries to get pushed. They can throw the smokes down. They can make sure that nobody gets in through the main stairs or gets in through the breach alike. Maybe a rotate as well. I would like to see Basetto rotate. I think that's a good cause for it. 15 seconds. You know for a fact no one's going to be holding the flank. E1 have to try and die for this diffuser.
Mighty going to be holding the hatch drop there. Neskin just dodging out of the stuns. Basetto is going to see some success there on that little mini roam he went for. What a shot from Mighty through the smoke. Astro, he's able to take Neskin down, but stood in the middle of sight with nothing left to do. Smoke dissipating, the diffuser not going down. Seto comes back to collect. Match and series point for NetShoes Miners.
It's a great push. Great push from the defense there, rotating around, taking it to the attackers. You know, I said Basetto looked as if he was going to try and go for the rotate. Pushes in towards the attackers. Don't give them that room to rotate towards blue. Catch them by surprise. Pick up that freebie. And he did so. You know, and even as well, he made sure to use his smoke and then rotate. So no one can say, oh, you're a smoke, you've died with utility. No, he's used it all. He can just do what he wants now. You know, he's done his job. He's stalled out that round enough for the defenders. He can go and make that smart play, get that kill. But Miners, what a turnaround. Has to be said. E1, that round's still going to be stinging with them because that's how Miners are in position. That's still the point of no return for E1, it feels like. And Kitchen is where we head for our final defense of regular time. Will this be the final round of the day? Or is overtime looming?
The Levy round, as it will now be known as. Cracking play. And it just goes to show you can't count anybody out. And especially, we spoke at the start of this series about some of the talent and ability on both of these teams. And, you know, they might not be the most top scoring teams in the league. They're not sitting at, you know, top spot or even in the top half. But they've still got some incredible talent and ability in the rosters. And that's what makes it so exciting to watch them. And especially when they're putting in good performances like this. Really does pique the interest, and make sure you keep an eye on them, because they might be fighting in LCQs now, but you never know where they will be in the future. The Netshoes Miners. Their future is looking pretty good. They're going to be attacking into the kitchen. Oh, sorry, defending onto the kitchen. They're going for that little bit of an extension upstairs as well. They've got the castle and a Zami combination. It's going to put a bit more pressure onto the lineup. Only a couple of nades. Plenty of breaching charges, but we all know how they can often go. You really want to look toward the nades or the sledge to be dealing with a lot of that castle utility.
Mills are the first pick. Will decide who wins this round. One have looked good whenever they're on the front foot, but so have Miners. Hope these teams have not done well from playing from behind. Actually cut that one round, which is only a mishap and a half. Breach gets opened up now. It's a good first step for E1. Means that nobody can play the vertical angles above. Then get wrapped, rotate it below. See if maybe open up that main breach and get that plant initiated. STK! Oh, what a pick! Eliminates Raps, takes down the hard destruction. Surely that's it. That has to be the spanner in the works.
STK is ready to challenge onto this even more as well, pushing up aggressively onto the breach, but just dips himself back. Look at the time that has been spent so far by E1. STK, he's not done on this breach. You know he's going to be going for something else. The Rotero drone pushes him out, takes a challenge.
Wow.
How does he keep himself alive? Levy comes to his aid, but eventually he falls. Look at how much time he's wasted. Look at the utility he's soaked up here. 4 versus 3 now as we enter the final 35. Dudes has got control of that top floor, but Demo, look at the diffuser.
Off and left.
It's outside of main breach. The diffuser, outside of main door, sorry. The diffuser's in no man's land right now.
2 C4s, Ollie. Don't forget about them. That's going to stop them even if they do get the diffuser, but it's just going to be a lockout. There's a C4 onto the vertical, Ollie, and the last one. Sexy Cake has to push in and make this clutch happen, but there's too many players, and Miners will ship E1 home. What a game. Just one after another. Just tumbling down the stairs, E1. They made that one big fall, and they haven't stopped falling.